Welcome back, good people. Welcome back to Four Titles, One Truth. It's your boy Tommy.
And I'm Lance. Today's episode is all about the one assignment, the one place, post, or job that changed everything for us.
Yeah, and I know some of y'all can relate.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about that installation or assignment that made you grow up or level up, if you want to say. Just maybe made you want to stay there longer, or maybe it made you want to run away.
Get out. Yeah. Either way, it left a mark. So let's get into it.
Before you get into it, man, can I tell you, it's great that we have this new studio.
I know, man. This is woo.
Now,
y'all
when
just
we
don't
say
know.
Studio, we're talking about we just moved to the other side.
That's
of the
right.
room. Don't
we
think
just changed
balling
locations
just yet. And shout out to Joe Budden's podcast, because this is where we got the idea from, as far as sitting, and also for adding guests without trying to redo this entire room.
Yep.
So shout out to you, Joe.
Yep, word.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tommy, was there one duty assignment or station that changed the trajectory of your career?
Yeah, it was. There was a few,
Okay.
like we've talked about before, but I think if I was to isolate the one, it would have to be when I was stationed at Camp Hialeah in South Korea. That's down in Busan.
Okay, I was gonna say, where is that actually?
It's down in the bottom of the peninsula.
Okay.
And for you World War II buffs, it's where America landed when we were coming over to support them during the Korean War. So it's the very bottom of the peninsula. But I would just say this, it was, the job there was, it was just another job. It was a newer job, meaning a new job, meaning that I hadn't done those operations before, because I was working at a port.
Mm-hmm.
And that meant receiving and shipping cargo.
Okay.
So that was different. But at the same time, it was something that I needed in my toolkit, as a transporter. But it was more of the people that was there that made it so unique for me.
Okay.
What about you?
Probably mine was Fort Bragg.
Okay.
No.
The second best
Airborne
division in the 18th Airborne Corps, Air Assault. I got you.
Airborne. Okay. And yeah, it was I mean, it was the right place for me to be at the time. It was the first field assignment that I had, where I was actually assigned to the that was my primary assignment, and not the hospital.
Okay.
Because I'd been at three other places by then before I got there.
And they were all
in the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all on post, at a military post,
Right.
but that was the primary job, was in the hospital, doing my job, which was rightfully so, which was where I needed to be.
And what was your job at that time?
I was a operating room nurse.
Okay.
So OR nurse, 66 Echo.
So leaving the hospital was definitely different.
It was, but wasn't, because I was still going to the days that I didn't go down to the unit, I was going to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I was still doing both, but the primary thing was, like, if I needed to be down for PT, then I would go PT first and then go.
Gotcha.
Or if so it was still keeping up the clinical skills, which is necessary. I mean, that's a necessary, because when we do deploy, my job is going to be what I do in the hospital.
Gotcha.
Most definitely. So
okay.
Yep.
So what's the name of that post again? So
people to disrespect.
So what made Fort Bragg?
There you
go. What made it so pivotal and unique for you, and what made it so special?
It was for me, it was the job. It was a job and the people, but it was the job.
Okay.
Being able to be down with real, maneuver units, and really seeing how we actually are incorporated into some of their the moves and the needs, and because when I was down there, I not only was with the 28th, and because that's who I deployed with, but I also got pulled to go with. It was seven. I can't remember what I don't know what it is now, but it was a 782nd FST, which is a fast team, surgical fast team.
Okay.
To go down and do Hurricane Katrina relief. So I was down there for a couple of months with them. So it wasn't just medical. It was medical. It was transportation. It was infantry. I mean, you had all of the elements down there, and being able to go down, and we're doing PT and they're doing PT, and just all of the other things of how we
different look for you.
Yeah, So I mean, you really felt like I'm in the real, say the real army, but in not just doing the medical stuff. So, but it was just being able to see the interactions, how you learn them, and going through ROTC and when you go through your advanced camp, but seeing how those interactions actually are supposed to go down, because in the hospital, it's different. It's not.
What do you mean by interaction?
With your junior officers, with your enlisted.
Okay.
I mean, just all of those the common
customs and
courtesies.
Gotcha.
Yes, the customs and courtesies that you have them in the hospital, but people forget, and they have to be reminded that we are a military organization and not a
civilian.
We're not Baptist or Methodist or anybody like that. Baylor, Scott, and White. Yeah, so we're not in it. We are the Army or
He's
the
not
Air
talking
Force.
about religion, by the way.
Yeah.
He's talking about the different hospitals.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, it was refreshing to be down and around that. To even help me, like, shoot, I need to start speaking up on it, so that when folks, because like me, folks don't just stay in the hospital. I mean, they go over to field units, and even if they're out and about and they run up on Sergeant Major Jones and don't do the correct things, and he's sitting there and they sitting there and parade rest,
catch that fire.
Catch, and it's like
save their life.
Try to save them from themselves, So it was good to see that. Then it helped me to for future to really know what to expect or demand from my senior leaders, my senior NCO leaders, because man.
I remember you told me about that NCO that was sitting at the counter.
Oh, Jack, man. I mean, and this was after I left. Bragg, came down here to BAMC, to Brooke Army Medical Center. Was running the front desk at that time. He usually had a nurse, which was like an officer running the front desk with a enlisted like sergeant, NCO. That was running, for the techs and other stuff. They were busy. But had this E5, I think it was E5 at the desk. A private came up and was telling this E5 what they wasn't going to do and when they were going to do this. And
which they ain't supposed to happen.
Oh, my God. I mean, and it was just, and I was sitting there and I was like, okay, I'm waiting for the fire. Yeah, I'm waiting for the fire to start, because it's great. It's getting me hyped. So didn't hear anything. The private left, and I spun that chair around. I was like, what in the hell is wrong with you? He's like, no, that's not how that goes. I said, because if anybody come up and talk to me like that, no, yes, no, that's not how that shit goes. It's like we're not, know where we are, know what our culture is, how we're supposed to act. Yeah, and it's just like that's what makes us different than some of these other places. So yes, so that was that was something that helped me to. I mean, that's something that I always try to push and show and display also
from what you learned at Bragg.
From what I learned, from what I learned, because it was a stressful, experience with the deployments and things like that. But it was, I mean, such a good.
Was
like I
that your
said,
first
professional-
2 deployments ever? Okay.
Well, yes,
Right.
to the long deployments where I was actually
Oh, wow.
packing up and moving, because I'd done all of the. I mean, I'd been to JRTC probably 4 or 5 times by that time. So.
Hey, I've been to NTC 6 times,
Oh,
and the only time I went to JRTC, right, which is a training installation in Louisiana.
yeah.
The only time I ever went there is when I was sitting as a sergeant major of a battalion to visit soldiers. I have never done any training at JRTC.
Ooh.
I've shipped stuff to JRTC, but I've never personally ever had to go do training there.
Hot, wet, and muggy, buddy.
I've heard all the rumors.
Yeah, but I was stationed at NTC, so.
Well, I got plenty of NTC stories, but I will tell you this before I answer. So being the first sergeant major, I had I had medics attached to, especially because I was HAC first sergeant, and so I had medics attached to or assigned, to my actual unit. And at Campbell Air Assault, I had I think it was about 12, either 8 to 12 medics assigned to me, and we had them on hand with the brigade surgeon. Of course, she was up in headquarters, but the soldiers were in their own little office. And what we were doing, it was a change. We tried to bring them down so that they could help us with our numbers, right, as well as with training.
Okay.
Combat lifesaver and just the simple medical
Right.
things that you need.
The necessities.
Yes. And so there's good and bad to that, right? Because there's good to it because it does exactly what you said you did when you was at Bragg. It introduces or brings people back to the we'll say traditional army.
Traditional.
Right. And that's the good of it, because it reminds everybody of formations. It reminds everybody about customs and courtesy.
Yeah.
It reminds everybody about basically the way the big machine works. The bad part about that is trying to get them back to their facility. This was a clinic. It wasn't a hospital for them, but trying to get them back to those facilities so that they can also remember and work those skills,
The clinical skills.
which are perishable.
Yeah.
Try to work those clinical skills so that they can be proficient when they leave us.
And that's when, when you want them proficient, whenever
Yeah.
you are out there and it's just you all out
Yeah.
there, when you're out there by yourself, when you're deploying.
And you also want to look out for their career.
Yes.
And that was the hardest thing for me, because I want them to be well-rounded, but there's so much pressure. Because when you get medics, it's like finding gold. And so you don't want to let that go, because there's always something that you can get. And mainly it's getting your people combat lifesaver certified. And that is just hugely important. It's a stat, but it's also a statistic, but it's also something that can help save lives, right? And it's different for other MOSs, right, which are jobs in the military, is because, like, for instance, transportation. There is a transportation office on every installation, and every transportation office has there's some aspect of all MOSs in transportation that they could use. And so to work through that, they detail, right? It's a duty that you have, a detail that comes up out of operations, is a rotation that you send people down there. But like, I'll use supply for example. Supply is a specific logistics, but it's basically just like everybody knows, it's trying to maintain what people need, and then requesting and also helping maintain that, right?
Right.
And so on every installation, you have what's called a central issue facility, which is CIF, and it's basically where you go and get your your combat gear, right? Or not combat gear, but your field gear.
Field gear. Yep.
But every installation doesn't have their supply people working there. They have civilians working there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if a supply person has to go work in a CIF somewhere at some other installation, it's a brand new thing instead of something that they should already be at least proficient in, you know what I'm saying? Because once again, you want a well-rounded soldier. So I understand the fight that you all have medically specifically, and it's something the Army was working hard to figure out. When I got out, and I have no idea how much progress.
Yeah, I mean it's still difficult because I mean you have your medics, but then you have like my enlisted, my soldiers were surgical techs.
Okay.
Which was totally different. Totally different. Yeah, and it's not the group is not as big, so a lot of times they get stuck into and what you said before. You want to look out for their career, so you want them to have opportunities to go do some of these jobs or some of these competitions and stuff. Because, but you also want to
because in the future that what do you call them? Surgical tech is going to somewhere have to compete with that combat medic. And when I'm talking about for promotions and all that stuff.
The highest that they can really go as a surgical tech is E7.
Really?
After that, then they get put back into the pool.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point.
So you want them to have some of those experiences and be competitive with
the combat medics.
Yeah, combat medics and
because
stuff.
The combat medics are field focused. And no matter what anybody wants to tell you, the Army is field focused. Right, so everybody should have a great touch and familiarity with that concept if they want to go higher through their career. So, but anyway, that's a bunch of babbling for me. But what made the post Camp Hialeah in South Korea specific and so unique for me? I think it can be declared as my career was going straight in a line, and that line where I was going could have led me to some success, but I made a slight left, and it absolutely propelled me to I'm going to be a sergeant major. Because when I got there, the unit was small as far as.
I was going to say, what was it that?
It was small overall.
Prompted that.
Right. It was small overall, but it was small because it had a certain amount of military people, which I want to say was like maybe 11 or 12. But then you had the majority of it was civilian Korean contractors as well as some U.S. civilian contractors. And so it was a very unique location and a very unique job, but the people there, so we had a battalion commander and we had a sergeant major and we had a major, or two majors, a captain, I think we had a lieutenant, and then we had 3 staff sergeants, and then we had Katusas. And Katusas are South Korean augmentees to the United States. And so what that means is, so South Korea, they have where once you graduate high school, you have a debt to your nation. You have to serve 2 years in the military. And it can be different ways. It could be 2 years as a Army, Navy, Air Force person, or it could be 2 years as a Katusa. Right, and that's not just for poor people. That's for everybody, right? Yep. So everybody has to taste the military because everybody is a reserve. I don't know if a lot of people knew that, but anyway, and so if you're a Katusa, if you choose Katusa, which is usually for the educated and the higher income type. You choose, if Katusa is what you choose, then you are assigned You go through your military training for South Korea, and then your language skills are tested. And then if you qualify, then you are a Katusa, and you're sent over to work with the United States in the capacity as a soldier, right? But the point is, you're supposed to be that connector to the South Korean Army, South Korean military, right? So you can have a Katusa supply clerk, you could have a Katusa truck driver, you could have all those type of things. And so we were small like that. And so what that did was it gave me a unique opportunity. Why I keep saying unique is because I was able to get to know the battalion commander as a staff sergeant. I was able to get to know the sergeant major and build relationships with the majors and also the senior, whether they were Korean or American civilians that were there, because I was actually in NCOIC, and I worked with a senior civilian, GS 13, I think.
Okay.
So it gave me something that I had never lived through before. But by being able to build that relationship, it let me see through a curtain about how a battalion commander is
people,
and can be. Absolutely.
Real folk,
and it made me realize they're regular people, but with a whole lot more responsibility. Yeah. But while I was there, I was eligible for my first look for Sergeant First Class.
Okay.
And so, not knowing what the heck, to do really, I legitimately had another battle buddy. His name was Clay. We were able to go through this together because he was senior to me.
Okay.
And we had a sergeant major who's been through all the rank, progressions. And so I had a unique ability to have knowledge and experience to help me. And then I ended up getting selected as a Sergeant First Class. So I became a staff sergeant promotable. And then I had the unique opportunity of being mentored by a sergeant major.
Nice.
And he helped along with the battalion commander, because once we all left Korea, and then I ended up getting selected and for promotion, and then having a promotion date, they actually came to my promotion. You know what I'm saying? So was able to, and I'm still friends with them today on Facebook.
Nice.
So but what I was able to find out is, like you said, they're people. Sergeant Major Skinner at the time was, back in the day, was stationed at Fort Eustis with me, and he was the first sergeant that was behind our company. So I was familiar with who he was. I just didn't know him, and he recognized me, but he didn't know me. And then Lieutenant Colonel Brundage at the time, he retired a colonel, Fulbird. He was, I'm gonna make sure he sees this part, but he went to Notre Dame and on a band scholarship.
Hey man, ain't nothing wrong with the band.
Yeah, I know. He was a
band.
trumpeter, and so. But the reason that's funny to me is because he's also a ranger.
There it is, right there.
So I used to tell him, I was like, "You tell me you a ranger and you can play the trumpet?" So we used to play back and forth about that. And we're also Notre Dame, Ohio State rivals. But they're good people. And having their knowledge, their experiences to help mentor me during that time. And it led to me, going my next assignment.
Yes, hey, that's wealth of knowledge, man.
So he sent me back to Fort Eustis so that I could be an instructor at the NCO Academy, which is, everybody knows, is a great resume builder, right? And then by going there, I got to meet the installation sergeant major, and then I got to interview with the installation command sergeant major, and then interview with the academy command sergeant major, which added two more knowledgeable and experienced people to people I know. But that eventually led to me becoming a drill sergeant. So it completely added strength to my career, and not just as a soldier, but as an expert.
Okay. Yep.
So that's why it was so valuable.
It made you, what we were talking about, well-rounded, making you a well-rounded
added
soldier,
to it.
leader.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. Yep. So did you realize during that assignment how important it was, or did it not kick in till you left? And
Of course not. Of course you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you have, put it this way, knowing that I was around those senior level leaders, of course I was aware how unique that was. Knowing that Sergeant Major put my follow-on assignment to be an instructor at the NCO Academy, I knew that was significant. But knowing that, because he was like, this is your best path to become a drill sergeant, right? And so knowing that this was being set up, I was aware that this was unique. And I know I've said that like 30 times.
Hey man, that's the word of the day.
Yeah. And so that I was aware of. But I also had to be selected to be an instructor once I got on base, because they could have said no.
Yep.
And then I had to be selected to be a drill sergeant because they could have said no. And so I had no idea that was going to work out so well. I did 3 years as a daggone drill sergeant, and then with that on my resume, and then going and continuously knowing that, hey, you got to start. There's no easy jobs if you want to have a future in here.
Right.
You need to go, hey, what's the toughest job that you can send me to? And next thing you know, I'm in Campbell, you know what I'm saying? The toughest place you can go, because it's, air assault. But, yeah, but it, 2020 hindsight is nowhere near currently looking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
I mean that's I agree. I mean it's the same with me, because it's days where hating it, and I mean just
yeah.
like, why am I down here doing this shit, or when we're deployed, just why me, so not until
Yeah.
you said I get to the next place and you start looking and seeing, and then
Yeah.
things that
How valuable that was.
yes,
Yeah.
I mean, so absolutely not. I mean, but that's part of being young also. You know what you don't
Hard-headed.
know. Yeah.
Thinking that you created this.
Everything as usual.
My talent stood out.
Yeah.
No.
That was it. Yeah. No.
So let me ask you this then. I'll add to it. Give me a couple or one other installation or assignment that made a strong impact to you, whether it was negative or positive.
Man, I mean it's a hard but easy one, because it'd be more trying to rank the different assignments as to what they added to the toolbox,
Right.
And the things that I needed and didn't know that I needed in order to get make me a better officer, so I could get promoted and stuff. But Fort Hood, that was a good one, because we
Why?
actually moved the hospital.
Really?
We moved from an old hospital to a new one. So just going in and inspecting the area before, to try to pick out like that's wrong, and
Right.
then them telling us, well, we're not going to change it, and then try to come up with
workarounds.
yeah, come up with all of that before we moved in, when we're moving, because we're not stopping our we weren't stopping our surgical cases or days. So
Still working in the movie?
yes, we were still working in the other building, so it was moving moving our sterile processing area first, so that they could get set up and
Right.
start moving instrumentation after that. I mean, so it was great, moving from an old place then into the new place,
Yeah.
and then just that learning experience.
Yeah.
Fort Irwin
Yeah.
was a good one, because it was
The
only
box.
2 of us there, and I was the junior there, so
worker.
we know what that means.
And
So-
y'all see a lot of stuff there too, especially
Yes.
training accidents
Yep, we see
Yeah.
a bunch of folks when they're
and sick call.
jumping in, and but yes, it's a lot of babies born there. A lot of babies
There you
born
go.
there.
Mm.
But just I mean just I mean
Any
every
negatives
places.
or just assignments, and you don't have to be specific about the who,
No, I
what,
mean
when.
no, because you know what, every assignment surprised me.
Okay.
You know, because when we went down to Fort Irwin, that was to me that was I was like, we gonna go down to Fort Irwin, you know, and it was,
There's
but that ended up being a good assignment, and not just for the job, but just being able to uh, do things outside of you know, the job and
Right.
outside of post, you know, seeing California, because I like California. California wasn't a bad place to visit, and it's a lot of stuff there
There is.
to see. So I mean, it was nice, you know. So I mean, so that's something that I think folks need to always remember and do is like, you got your job, you got your where you are on post, but it's stuff outside and
Yes.
around you that you should go visit that can make that assignment or make
Better.
that place, you know,
Yeah.
better, and you know, so that you have good
Unique.
memories. Yes, I did. I absolutely did. I had to. Yeah, I mean, the negative at being at Fort Hood was that my family wasn't there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it was
get that.
trying to, you know, trying to navigate that piece where it was like, okay, they're 2 hours away.
Mm.
I'm on the road every Friday afternoon and Monday morning, bright and early, you know, to get back to, back up there to the job. So I mean,
And you mentioned before that was tough for you because Miles.
because because he was starting. Mackenzie was in college. She had started college, and she was up in Waco,
Right.
and then Miles was just starting high school.
Yeah.
So it was like,
You
know,
wanted to be there for that.
yes,
I get it.
especially for young man starting.
Yeah.
You know, but I was there for his senior year, and then his start of his college life. So
Plus, you were only 2 hours away. So
Yes.
I get that.
yeah, I mean, but it was just still, you know, it's
Yeah, it ain't being there.
and you're not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's I don't. I'm trying to think of a I mean, because you always have. I mean, it's the regular
Yeah.
things where you have a leader that's just like, you know, I'm not dealing. You know, I'm not going to be like that, or that's wrong, or that's not. It's that type of stuff. But as far as like being there where I didn't get anything out of the assignment, I never did that. I mean, and part of that was just I always tried to go in and with the help of my wife, try to go in there with a good attitude and with the attitude of get something out of it. You know, you have to. Well, I think we talked about this before. You got to be the one to take control of your
career.
Your career.
destiny.
So, what's there that's going to help you get better? You know, and that's what I tried to go into different assignments with that attitude. What about you?
And I'll tell you this, and this is an honest soldier moment. No matter where you go, it's going to be different because the people are different. It could be the exact same job, but it'll be different because the people are different, right?
Yep.
And then
That's true.
going back to exactly what you said is, for me, that was not something I was saying while I was there. I was hating some of the assignments. But when you leave, you're like, boy, I learned a lot there, good, bad, or indifferent.
Because you're there unconsciously,
Yes.
unconsciously,
yeah.
grabbing the little pearls and things that are going to help to make you better and things to help you learn to be a better soldier, better leader. So.
And somehow the Army is able to always have somebody stellar in the area where you are. And sometimes it's you, but I mean, it's amazing. Like, and so to answer that question for me, I agree with you 100%. Every unit that I look back on favorably.
Yeah.
But when you really look back, you start to realize, like Campbell, I was there for 6 years. Yeah. And I can honestly tell you the majority of my days there was fired up and ready to work. But there were days when I bumped heads with the battalion commander. I was a first sergeant there. I bumped heads with the battalion command sergeant major. I bumped heads with the division command sergeant major. Let me tell you this story at Campbell, man. So I'm sitting there giving a PT test. I think I may have told you this story before, but I'm sitting there giving a PT test, and one thing that Fort Bragg and Fort Campbell are known for is standards, right? That's something that they preach. And what's funny is the standards are a little different at each installation, but they have their books. It's the blue book at Campbell, and you follow that. For instance, your uniform will be locked in. Your PT uniform, how you do everything is locked in, right? So I was out there giving a PT test and physical training test, and I was a first sergeant there, Diamond, and so we're giving a PT test off of the main route, running route.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I was very well aware of what I was doing, what my unit was doing. So I go down there because I was at every PT test, right? Because I wanted to make sure they were to standard, and I wanted to try to hype up the participants.
So, yeah.
And then, but while I'm there, it's that weather. It's that weather where it's started off cool, and now all of a sudden it's warm and it's 2 mile time. So at Campbell, you cannot. You're either in summer PT physical training uniform, or you're in winter. You can't run with your jacket on and shorts.
Oh, really?
Oh, what?
Oh.
And so I made the call. I was like, there were so many people on the run. So I was like, also you have the PT belts. You know, you had to have them on.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's on a controlled route. There's no traffic during the hours.
Yep.
So First Sergeant Jones made a command decision. There's so many people running all over the place. I was like, look, I want you, because we had to wear our PT vest around our waist.
Mm-hmm.
So I told them to wear it diagonally so the graders could see them and we could track them, because it was a mile
There's a bunch
down,
of
a
folks
mile
out
back.
there,
Oh,
so
it was ridiculous that day. And my soldiers take off running. They hit the turnaround point, and at the turnaround point, you have an NCO there to make sure that you count how many people made it.
Through, yep.
And that's another reason why I decided to make that command decision. And so they hit the turnaround point, and here comes the daggone Division Sergeant Major running with his little crew. And he sees them with the PT belt.
Strapped across.
Oh, boy, he stopped them in the PT test, and it's out of sight for me, and choose them out during a PT test, made them change. He said he didn't give a blah, 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 right? Because that's how they talk, especially when I was in. So anyway, get the PT belts changed, and then they keep running. And so I'm like, these times, what in the world is going on? And so him and his crew come running back. Some of my soldiers are finished. And that joker walk around, who's in charge of this cluster? Bleep. And so, I'm like, I am Sergeant Major, because you know who they are, because they're daggone. It's your job to know who they are, right? So I said, I am Sergeant Major. And one thing I knew, because the way he came aggressive, I knew that I had to be in control of myself, right? So knowing who he was, he started yelling. I stepped up to make sure he didn't get to my soldiers, and I'm standing there, parade rest, locked in, and he is digging in. Who the bleep do you think you are to change the standards of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, United States? Or he was giving me going off on me, and I'm just sitting there waiting for an opportunity to give my spiel, which of course I didn't get, but he was going after me, and I'm just sitting there, parade rest, and he used to have something was called the pain train on was it the weekend? It was either the weekends or it was before PT. I can't remember, but anyway, he was like, you come see me on the pain train, right? And so my soldiers sitting there like, ooh, what? Oh, and so I take it. And then I tell everybody, hey, let's go. We still got to finish this PT test and all that stuff. And so that morning, whenever I had the meeting, weekend, I think it was a Saturday, but I'm not sure. But I go over there, and then waiting on him. It's like 5:30 or some stuff like that. And then he comes out and he sees me. He's like, Jones, come here, First Sergeant. And that joker came to me, he shook my hand. He was like, hey, you understand why I had to do that, right? And I was like, no, I get it. I said, and he's like, so why wouldn't you do it? So I finally got to explain. I'm still standing parade rest. So I finally get to explain or whatever. And he was like, I get that, but you don't do that here. And I said, I understand, so we go out there and do PT. And all the pain train was, he'd set up different little stations, and you do muscular failure stuff, and then we'd go on a little run or whatever.
He knew that you liked it.
I think he knew, but it was just one of them experiences where, okay, Campbell's different, and it is different, and it was great. And the greatest thing about that story, the only reason I told that story is because he showed out, chewed me out and all that stuff, but he remembered who I was, and then he had a conversation so he could hear my side. And he went on to become the Force Commissar Major and all that stuff, but it was there's a difference there. So Campbell is another installation that brought me back, because all my time while I was at Campbell, I was a first sergeant twice. I was a senior truck master. I was a rear detachment SPO, support operations sergeant major, and I was sitting in as command sergeant major. So
he was piling all
that's what I'm saying on my resume.
There,
you know what I'm saying? And then of course I made sergeant major after that. So Campbell was one, but every installation, that moment when he was chewing me out, I was like, wanted to go back, because the decision I made was thought out. The decision I made was my decision for my people to make us better.
It made sense.
100%.
Yeah. It made sense. I understand.
So, but in that moment, I'm like, this, but at the same time, and then when I came to the academy, he was one of the speakers there, and he was like, "Is Jones?" And he called me out. Yeah. So he's he remembered me. So, but it turned from a bad moment to where I was like, man, to understanding and then growing. But being at Campbell for those years was invaluable to me. So,
yeah.
So that's my answer to that.
I hear that.
All right. Let me ask you this question. Looking back, did the installation or the assignment, did it make you harder? Meaning more hoo-hoo, not strong.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to put that on you. We're not going to put that on you. Or did it, and better, or did it just, was it just, how did it affect
It made
you?
me better.
Better?
I'm going to say, like, each assignment, like I said before, each assignment, I tried to learn something new, or it taught me something, or it taught me something good or bad.
You take something.
And it just helped me to, each assignment helped me to mature.
Yeah, as a leader.
So that I could react in the appropriate way,
Right.
And not how I was really feeling a lot of times. Now, when I would get back to my office on some stuff, I would let my my senior people that were around me know exactly how I was feeling. But in the moment of things and in meetings and stuff, I tried to you learn how to respectfully disagree with folks, or or just listen and take it and go, okay, and move on. But trust me, it doesn't just trickle away. It's still simmering in you, and you have to. And luckily, I had a good crew that I
helped
could
you through
vent to. Yeah, I could vent it out to, and then it was like, okay, then it was back to. But yeah, none of them made it. I can't even think of. I guess it didn't make it harder because I didn't allow it to make it. I didn't allow it to defeat me.
Right.
As my wife would say.
Speak on that. People, a lot of people's bad experiences is because they give up in a situation, because that's, oh my God. And we'll talk about that in another episode.
Yes.
But no matter what just real quick, no matter what you face, there is a path for you to take. Get through it, weather it, and become better, or let that stop you, prevent your progress from moving forward. And I'm talking about whether you do something wrong. I'm even talking about DUI.
Yeah.
You have a decision to make when you reach those roadblocks. And I can tell you that I always try to beat that into my soldiers. Every point in your life, you have a decision to make. And then at those points, making the right decision means always choosing to move forward. That's the right decision.
Well, that's stuff I still tell my kids,
Oh,
my
goodness.
grown kids, when they're in their jobs and things like that. It's like, look, that's not important.
Yeah.
You keep doing what you know
Yep.
you're doing and try to
Moment.
progress. Yep.
Oof, boy.
Yep.
All right. For me, I was already, harder, what I mean? But it absolutely made me better. And I would tell you, Campbell, I don't know if Campbell would have been as effective to me if I had gone there sooner, because I needed all that other stuff.
Right. Exactly. You needed that experience.
Yes.
You needed that experience.
Campbell absolutely taught me how to deal with senior leadership, and taught me how to present myself in front of senior leadership. And the reason that's important is because the way you present yourself determines if you're heard or not. And so learning and having to deal with the generals and the colonels and the command sergeant majors, having to deal with the sergeant majors and all that stuff, and even the different first sergeants, learning how to maneuver through that so that my voice was always received. That was a talent that I absolutely refined while I was at Campbell.
Then you can have a conversation with them. You can talk to them and they'll remember you.
That's the
when
thing.
you're
That's the
wherever,
thing.
someplace, just like you said, that sergeant major, he probably came down to you and talked to you.
That's the thing.
He had a conversation with you and didn't just talk at you.
Yep.
So I mean, because I understand that, because when I was at a MedCom and meeting all that, I mean, that's where all of the big wigs are, and and all of the people are coming through. So it just
takes the glow off.
Yeah, I mean, it helps you to let them know what's going on, and you can talk to them and get some half true answers from, because you're not gonna get
but the thing is this,
all of it,
and
but they're gonna know.
This is another point though, that when I was younger and stars, whether they were on the enlisted chest or collar back then, or whether it was on the officer side, whenever they came into your area of operation, we called the AO, there was always a panic, right? And so we had to live through that. But when I started to get in a position to where I was the one receiving these people, I was able to keep it calmer, because I'm like, look, we do this stuff every day. If we're not doing it right every day, then we shouldn't panic about that. We should have already felt bad about that.
Yeah, I mean, and as long, both of us know, getting at the rank where when we walk through, when people are all
that defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do.
Yes, that's not anything. I mean, it's like, as long as it's not anything crazy going on, we all were there at some point in our career and understand. We're not looking for polished diamond, crazy stuff, but we want to make sure things are being done correctly.
And for those that don't know, inspections in the military, they're not got you moments. That's not what they're created for. Those inspections are meant so that you can see how your soldiers are living and how they are, how close they are to meeting the standard. That's what an inspection is. When you walk in and you're inspecting a barracks room, me, when I'm senior leaders, first sergeant, sergeant major, Tommy Jones, I'm coming into those barracks to make sure health and welfare is good. I'm looking there to make sure that you're decently clean and productive.
See, and that's the thing, because you got to think some of these soldiers and folks are younger, and
Never been
they
away
don't,
from home.
and they may not understand. It's like that smells like some mold or something. You've been living. How
Yeah.
long you been living in that like that?
Yeah.
Or you ain't had air, and how long the air's been out, and you not. So I mean, it helps you to go in and to identify things that they don't take into account, because as long as they got internet and their game is working, then they're good to go.
Yeah.
You know, and it's things that need to be addressed and fixed.
Yeah.
That
And some people have never cleaned a refrigerator before.
yeah. So I mean, it's not.
But I will tell you this: if things are jacked up,
The second time you go back around, yeah.
I mean, there's been, all my soldiers will tell you, there's been plenty of times where I'll show up for an inspection, especially when I was first sergeant. I show up for an inspection, and it's supposed to be at like 5:30, and I walk in, my first couple minutes there is jacked up. Guess what? We're doing the same thing tomorrow, but at 5 o'clock. Doing the same thing tomorrow, because what I was trying to do is show them I'm only coming in these barracks every once in a while. And if you mean to tell me that your first sergeant, your platoon sergeant, your squad leader, your daggone, and you don't care enough to present this in a better way, or you don't care enough to live in a
How you
better
live
way,
it, yeah.
so that I don't have to see this madness. Because when it's wrong, I'm blaming everybody.
Well, see, and they don't understand either. It's like we're not trying to change how you are, but it's like you can't be nasty and shit, because when you deploy, we close.
You're
And
already
you can't
nasty.
be a nasty
too. Yeah.
ass. Yeah,
You're
I mean,
going into a nasty environment,
Yeah.
and if you're not aware of what clean looks like, then we're all going to be nasty, and that's not going to happen. I ain't got time to choke you out on deployment.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So if you could go back to the post for 1 week, what would you do differently?
Well, unfortunately, I can't go back, because when Nikki and I was there we were stationed in Korea. So I've been to Korea a total of 4 different times.
Damn.
Or 4 years, 3 times. So my first time there was in, let me think, 93, 94. My second time there was 2002, 2003. And then my last time there was 2017 to 2019.
Okay.
So that's how I got to 4 years. So, but when Nikki and because Nikki was stationed in Camp Hialeah as well, but
You got her at the same time?
no,
Oh,
she. So we met at Fort Eustis in '99.
okay.
She left Fort Eustis in '01, and she went to Camp Hialeah, Korea, and we talked for like a second after she left. She actually came back to visit, but she was done with me, And then so she went to Korea and moved on with her life, and then I ended up going to Korea in 2002. So we probably missed each other by like a month or two. Yeah. But so long story short, Camp Hialeah closed down. So Nikki and we wanted to go back to visit while we was there in 2018. And when we got there, it's gone. There's no gates. It's actually the United States handed it back over, the property back over to the South Koreans.
wow.
And they converted it into a park where families can go and visit, because it's literally like a downtown. But there are like historical, references to
Are some of the buildings still there?
Yeah, some of them are there.
Okay.
Like a hooch is there, and different different types of things. The club that was there. So, but the history of that land, all the way back to when the Japanese had it. Yeah, that's a long story. But we went and we took some pictures there, and went to a place that was called T-Town, which is called T Street. I'm sorry, it's called Texas Street, and It used to be a strip of madness. You'd have clubs, restaurants,
Say it was a strip.
after hours stuff. Yeah. And it was wide open. I'm talking, back in my first time ever visiting there, we used to have go to basketball tournaments there. And my first time ever being there, there was jokers having sex in a club on the dance floor.
Oh.
Yeah, it was wide open back in the day.
Oh my.
But that's gone. Now Texas Street is still there, and it's actually there's more Russians there than anything.
Really?
Yeah, Russian shops and a bunch of Chinese shops. Yeah, it's weird. So, but yeah, I can't go back as far as back to the installation. But if I could, I wouldn't do anything different. I was strong into weightlifting then, so all I did was, that's when I was in my peak condition. Like I said, the people I met there, enduring relationships, and then the setup and the influence it had on my career. There's no need. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to change anything because that helped shape
Yes.
the future.
Yeah.
Next
It
4 or
turned out
5
okay.
different assignments that I
So
had.
don't mess
So,
with okay.
nope, just leave it alone. Leave it alone. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything.
I got you. And hey, look, we know for a fact that every soldier has that one assignment that changed everything.
Yep.
And ours were positive, and hopefully yours were too. It determined how you led. It determined how you thought, or changed how you thought, and how you saw the world, especially through the military lens. Yeah.
Yep. So if you've been there, you know the feeling. And if you haven't yet, trust me, it's coming.
Yep,
It's gonna come.
that means you're just starting and you don't know yet.
Yeah.
But once again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of 4 Titles, 1 Truth. Tell us your assignment that changed everything. Leave it as a comment,
Yeah,
or
please.
shoot us a DM. Forget to.
And don't forget to follow us at 4 Titles, 1 Truth on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
He knows this. I promise
I know.
he does.
I know.
Also, rate us. Leave us a review and share this episode with someone who
please.
wants to go back down memory lane
Yep.
from Fort whatever, wherever.
Wherever. Yep. So join us next time so we can
Go ahead now.
keep the conversation going. All right. Thanks,
Holla.
y'all.